start with this page 273. Now it's talking about a dollar, which we have here, and it's reminding you that 100 pennies equals 10 dimes equals $1. Or if you want to think about it backwards, we could say $1, and I've got my 10 dimes up here. $1 equals 10 dimes, so I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so these are equal. I can make a trade. Now each dime is the same as 10 pennies. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10 pennies is the same as 1 dime, 10 cents, and 10 dimes is the same as $1. Okay, so we could write these as a fraction, and this is saying because 100 pennies make a dollar, 1 penny is 1/100th of a dollar. And we would write that as a decimal like this, 1/100th. Now because 10 dimes make a dollar, 1 dime is 1/10th of a dollar. And we would write a dime like this, 1/10th. Now, so we don't have to sort out a whole bunch of money all the time, they've drawn it into this grid. So if you zoom in, you can see that these are all itty bitty pennies. So the big rectangle is like representative of one whole dollar. And then the row, if you counted them up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this strip is equivalent to this lineup of pennies, which is equal to 10. And so if you were to color in the whole thing, it's the same as 1 dime or 1/10. So this is showing you that 1 penny is 1/100th, and we write it like this in the decimal form. But if we have 10 of them, we can say we have 10 hundredths. We have 10 pennies. So we have 10 of 100 equal parts, because 100 pennies makes a dollar, makes one whole. But we can also say, instead of 10 pennies, we could also say that's the same as 1 dime, and that would be 1/10. So when you see this strip, the whole strip colored in, it can be 1/10, or it can be 10 hundredths, because they're equivalent. So think dime, 10 pennies. They look different, but they're still equal the same amount of money. Okay? So if you look over here at number 2, it says 1 dime is 1/10. 10 plus 10, 10 hundredths plus 10 hundredths is 20 hundredths, which looks like this. 10 pennies and 10 pennies is 20 pennies, which is 100 still makes it a dollar. Or one strip would be 1/10 and 1/10. So that would equal also 2/10. So I could have 2 strips of these pennies, 20 pennies, or I could have 2 dimes, and this is how I would write it. 2 dimes, 20 pennies. 2/10, 20 hundredths. Get it? It's not too complicated. It's just different. So let's look at the third one. So it just is showing you, let's look at the model first. So I see 2 full rows of pennies, and then this one's about half. So this one's actually 5 pennies. Okay, so we've got the equivalent of 2 dimes and 5 more cents. So they've written it in 2 different ways, pennies. So they have 10 pennies plus 5 pennies equals 25 pennies, or 25 hundredths, because 100 pennies makes a dollar. Or you could do it 1 dime and 1 dime, but you can't, this isn't equal to a dime, and we can't use nickels because we don't have a fifths. We only have tenths and hundredths. So when we think in money, we just think pennies and dimes, for decimal places anyway. So we've got 1 dime and 1 dime, and then we have to add 5 pennies. So all in all, you can see that also equals 25 hundredths. So then they've showed you down here how you can add it in decimal form. 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 5 hundredths equals 25 hundredths. That's how we read that number, because the 5 is in the hundredths place. We can also write it 10 hundredths plus 10 hundredths plus 5 hundredths equals 25 hundredths. Are you getting it? Excuse me. Let's do another one with 5. So they've taken their original 25. Do you see that line? Here's the 25 cents, really. And then they've added some more to it. So they've added another 25. Here it is. Do you see it? 25. And then they've added another 25. So here we have 25 plus 25 plus 25, and they're telling you it equals 75, which we can easily see when we go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 5 more makes 75. And then they've got it in decimals, and we can think of it like this: 25 cents is a quarter, right? So we know that 3/4 equals 75 cents, or the same as 75 pennies if we wanted to trade our quarter in for pennies. Okay? Now lastly, this one's pretty straightforward. We've got a 10 strip, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and they've got 1/10 up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like adding 5 dimes, and so then they end up with 5/10, which is the same as 1/2 of the dollar, right? 50 cents is the same as 1/2 of a dollar, and they show you in decimals. 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 equals 5/10. Or 10/100ths, because it could also make this in pennies. We could do 10/100ths plus 10/100ths plus 10/100ths plus equals 50/100ths. Not so crazy, right?